Imagine walking into a grocery store, picking up a simple gallon of milk, and the cashier charges you $20. But the man standing right behind you in a tailored suit steps up, buys the exact same gallon of milk, and only pays $4. You would be furious, you would call it a scam, and you would demand to speak to the manager immediately. Yet, this exact scenario is playing out in your life every single day, just not at the grocery store. The terrifying truth is that you are paying a massive invisible premium simply for not being rich. In this video, we are going to tear apart the hidden architecture of the financial matrix. We will expose the exact psychological and mathematical reasons why the system forces the working class to pay 200% more for the exact same existence. But more importantly, if you stay with me until the very last second, I will give you the psychological blueprint to stop being the system's favorite victim and start playing the game like the elite. My name is William, and my obsession is reverse engineering the behavioral finance traps that keep society broke. If you are tired of playing a rigged game and want to finally decode the psychology of wealth, gently tap that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let us step into the rabbit hole. Let me introduce you to two men. We will call the first man Thomas. Thomas works incredibly hard, clocking in at 7 o'clock in the morning and leaving at 6 o'clock in the evening. He earns roughly $60,000 a year. Now meet Richard. Richard is a business owner working similar hours, but he pulls in $600,000 a year. On a random Tuesday, both men decide they need a new vehicle to get to work. They both pick out the exact same mid-size sedan priced at $40,000. This is where the financial matrix begins to glitch, and the invisible tax on the middle class reveals itself. Richard walks into the dealership first. Because he has a flawless financial profile, massive cash reserves, and a robust investment portfolio, the bank rolls out the red carpet. They offer him an interest rate of 1.9%. Richard finances. The car keeps his cash invested in the stock market, earning 9% and drives away. His total cost for the car over 5 years is roughly $41,900. In fact, because he uses the vehicle for his business, he writes off a massive portion of the depreciation on his taxes, making the real cost even lower. An hour later, Thomas walks into the exact same dealership. Thomas has a few dings on his credit report: a missed medical bill from 3 years ago, a late credit card payment during a rough month. Nothing malicious, just the normal side effects of trying to survive on $60,000 a year in an inflationary economy. The dealer looks at his profile, smiles a predatory smile, and secures him a loan at 14% interest. Thomas does not have the cash to buy it outright, so he feels a wave of relief just being approved. He signs the paperwork. Over the next 5 years, Thomas will pay over $55,000 for the exact same $40,000 car. Thomas paid over $13,000 more than Richard. He paid a brutal penalty simply for being poorer. And that is just one single car. Multiply that by mortgages, insurance premiums, banking fees, and groceries, and you begin to see the invisible crushing weight of what economists call the poverty penalty. Let us talk about the banking system, which is perhaps the greatest illusion of all. Banks are marketed as safe havens for your money. But if you look closely at their business models, they operate as reverse Robin Hood machines. They take from the poor to fund the perks of the rich. If Richard accidentally overdraws his checking account by $50, the bank's automated system sees his massive net worth transfers, funds from his savings for free, or simply waives the fee completely because he is classified as a premium tier client. The bank desperately wants to keep him happy. Now look at Thomas. If Thomas overdraws his account by $5 just 2 days before payday to buy baby formula, the bank hits him with a $35 overdraft fee. When his automatic utility bill tries to clear the next day, it bounces. Boom, another $35 non-sufficient funds fee. The utility company then charges him a $25 late penalty. Because Thomas lacked 5 short dollars, he was penalized $95 in 48 hours. The global financial industry literally generates tens of billions of dollars a year in overdraft and late fees. And who pays those billions? Not the millionaires. The people who have absolutely no money are heavily subsidizing the free checking accounts, the luxury airport lounges, and the elite credit card rewards programs of the wealthy. Every time Richard uses his premium metal credit card to buy a $10,000 first-class flight to Europe and gets $500 in cash back, that cash back is funded directly by the exorbitant interest rates and late fees. squeezed out of people exactly like Thomas. So why does Thomas stay in this trap? Why do millions of intelligent, hardworking people remain completely blind to this brutal mathematics? It comes down to a potent psychological cocktail of curiosity and greed, meticulously engineered by a system that knows exactly how the human brain functions. The system is perfectly designed to keep you exhausted. When you are working 50 to 60 hours a week, just to keep the electricity on your brain, enters a constant state of cognitive scarcity. Behavioral economists and neuroscientists have proven that living under chronic financial stress literally drops your effective IQ by up to 14 points. You are operating in survival mode. You do not have the mental bandwidth to sit down at 9 o'clock at night and research compound interest tax loopholes or leveraged asset acquisition. You are just trying to survive until Friday. And right when you are at your most exhausted, right when your willpower is entirely depleted, the system springs the greed trap. It flashes a brilliant targeted advertisement across your screen for a shiny new smartphone, a massive flat-screen television, or a luxury vacation, and it whispers a poisonous little phrase: buy now, pay later. 4 easy payments, just $99 a month. The system is designed to isolate your focus entirely onto the monthly payment, blinding you to the total purchase price and the staggering double-digit interest rate attached to the terms and conditions. This is the ultimate greed trap. It exploits your natural human desire for a tiny hit of dopamine, a brief, fleeting escape from the grinding reality of your financial stress. The rich do not fall for this trap because they view money through an entirely different psychological lens. Richard uses debt as a tool for production, not consumption. Richard uses debt to buy an apartment building that puts cash into his pocket every single month. Thomas uses debt to buy a luxury couch that loses half its value the second the delivery truck leaves his driveway. The wealthy use debt to acquire cash-flowing assets. The middle class uses debt to acquire depreciating liabilities that they falsely believe are assets. And the poor are forced to use debt just to survive the week. But what happens if Thomas finally wakes up? What happens if he stops looking at Richard with bitter envy and starts looking at him with clinical, calculated curiosity? This is the exact pivot point where financial destinies are rewritten. The moment you replace resentment with curiosity, you become incredibly dangerous to the system. You stop asking why the universe is unfair, and you start asking what specific hidden rules Richard is playing by that you are completely ignoring. When Thomas shifts from greed to curiosity, he discovers 3 fundamental rules that the wealthy use to manipulate the matrix. He discovers rule number 1, which is the true cost of cheap goods. There is a famous economic concept regarding the socio-economic unfairness of footwear. A rich man buys a premium pair of handcrafted leather work boots for $300. They keep his feet dry, they can be resoled when they wear down, and they easily last for 10 years. A poor man cannot afford the $300 boots, so he buys a mass-produced cheap pair for $50. But the cheap boots have cardboard soles. They leak in the rain, they ruin his feet, and they completely fall apart after just 1 year. Over the course of 10 years, the poor man has to buy 10 pairs of cheap boots, spending $500 in total. He ends up spending $200 more than the rich man, and he still has wet feet for a decade. The poverty penalty is not just about predatory interest rates. It is about being forced to buy low-quality things over and over again because you lack the upfront capital to buy absolute quality once. The wealthy understand that paying a premium for quality, durability, and efficiency is mathematically the cheapest way to live your life. Thomas then uncovers rule number 2. The tax code is not a weapon used against you. It is a rulebook waiting to be exploited. The working class views taxes as an inevitable, unchangeable deduction from their paycheck. The government takes their share before the money even hits the checking account. But the rich do not earn traditional wages. They generate revenue through corporate entities and trusts. They earn their money, they spend absolutely everything they legally can on business expenses, vehicle write-offs, and asset depreciation, and then they only pay taxes on the tiny sliver of profit that is left over. The middle class gets taxed on their gross income. The wealthy get taxed on their net profit. This simple legal structural difference is exactly why a billionaire can legally pay a lower effective tax rate than his own administrative assistant. It is not dark magic. It is simply reading the rulebook through the lens of curiosity instead of apathy and structuring your cash flow accordingly. Finally, Thomas learns rule number 3. Time is the only currency that actually exists. The broke mindset trades time for money. The rich mindset trades money for time. If Richard wants to learn how to optimize his commercial real estate portfolio, he does not spend 500 hours reading free contradictory blogs on the internet. He pays a specialized consultant $10,000 to give him the exact foolproof blueprint in 2 hours. Richard knows his time is worth thousands of dollars an hour. Thomas, on the other hand, will spend 4 hours driving across town in heavy traffic just to save $20 on a household appliance. He is subconsciously valuing his own life at $5 an hour. The system desperately wants you to believe your time is worthless, so you will gladly trade the best years of your life for a mediocre wage. The exact moment you start valuing your time at an elite level, you immediately stop making peasant decisions. This brings us to the ultimate paradigm shift. You are paying 200% more for your life right now because you are constantly playing defense. You are letting the banks dictate the terms of your survival. You are letting the credit card companies farm your labor for compound interest. You are letting brilliant marketers hijack your dopamine with cheap plastic consumer junk. To break out of this vicious cycle, you must become ruthlessly intentional with every single penny that passes through your hands. You must systematically starve your greed for immediate gratification and aggressively feed your curiosity for financial mechanics. You have to stop buying things to look rich to people who do not even care about you and start buying things to actually build generational wealth. Every single dollar you spend on consumer debt is a captive soldier you are voluntarily handing over to the enemy. Every dollar you invest in an index fund, a business, or real estate is a soldier fighting a relentless war for your ultimate freedom. You have to be willing to endure the immense pain of temporary sacrifice. You might have to drive a beat-up, unreliable car for 3 years. You might have to cancel your vacations. You might have to endure the mocking laughs of friends and family who are secretly drowning in 6 figures of credit card debt just to fund their fake curated lifestyle. You must build your capital defense. Because the mathematical truth is this: once you have massive cash reserves, you no longer need the bank's expensive money. When you have financial leverage, the entire world gets dramatically cheaper. Interest rates plummet to the floor. Exclusive investment opportunities magically appear in your inbox. Bank fees vanish into thin air. The rich get richer not because of magic, but because they have built enough leverage to entirely stop paying the poverty penalty. They stopped operating on greed, and they started operating on supreme curiosity. You possess the absolute power to rewrite your financial destiny today, but it requires radical, uncomfortable accountability. The Matrix is perfectly designed to keep you broke, compliant, and paying premium prices for a second-class existence. It is time to unplug from their machine. My name is William, and I want to deeply thank you for taking this psychological journey with me today. If this video shifted your perspective and made you question the financial reality around you, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this message with someone who desperately needs to hear the brutal truth. Do not let your financial education stop here. Click on the video currently on your screen to uncover even more hidden secrets of behavioral finance and continue your relentless path to absolute financial dominance. I will see you in the next one.